Hello lovelies and welcome back to my channel. If you are joining me today, that means you clicked on this video because you want to know more about the first ever woman VP of the United States, which is a first in history. It's amazing. Also, first African-American VP elect and first South Asian VP elect. So a whole bunch of firsts with Madam Vice President Kamala Harris. So I am so super excited to talk about this. This is just kind of like a really brief video of just the highlights in case you're just not familiar with who Kamala Harris is, and if you aren't, just kind of like some pop culture things too. Oh my god, what do I need? I need coffee. My coffee got cold. Anyway, I need it though for today because I'm doing so much filming today. So if you don't know, Kamala Harris was born Kamala Devi Harris in October 20th, 1964, which makes her 2 years younger than my mom, and I think makes her a Scorpio, or maybe a Libra, or maybe like on the edge. I mean, not that it really matters, but you know, just factoids. She went to school at Howard University, which is a historically black college and university. Oh, and just so you know, there's a lot of people who have the misconception that historically HBCUs are only for black people and like they only admit black people, and that's not the case at all. There's plenty of people who go to Howard and Dillard and other who are not black, who are white, Hispanic, all, you know, different kinds of people, international students. And the reason that historically black colleges exist is because in like the 1800s and even going forward, their colleges just wouldn't, they were segregated. They wouldn't accept anybody who wasn't white. So that's why historically black colleges and universities exist. It's not to exclude white people, it's because black people were excluded from colleges and universities from the very beginning. So that's why. Anyways, she went to Howard University. She was graduated in 1986, and then she was the class of 89 at UC Hastings Law School. She pledged Alpha Kappa Alpha, and sorry mama, my mother-in-law is a Delta, and she is a very proud Delta, and she totally should be. It's really interesting because the article I read on NPR's Code Switch, if you've never listened to that podcast or never like read those articles, I really encourage you to. It's a really good look at how people of color kind of have to change how they talk, how they interact with the world based on who they're interacting with, whether it's a person of color in their group, or their like affiliate group, or if it's like people who are more in positions of power, and those tend to be more Caucasian people. You know, not saying that people do it on purpose, but just those are kind of like the systemic issues that happen. But anyway, Code Switch had this really great article by, I wrote it down. Hold on. Gene Demby on October 14th, 2020. It got released and it's on the NPR website, npr.org, so you can definitely go check that out. And definitely want to give them credit because that's where I got most of this information. So it's funny because Alpha Kappa Alphas, who is a black sorority, have a reputation for being the kind of like rich valley girls, and like the people who are always look perfect, always look preppy, always like show up with like the most like clean looking suit or dress or whatever. Like those are the people who always look like dressed to the nines. And whereas like my mother-in-law, who was a Delta, was much more of a she was someone who was in the civil rights movement. She was someone who was in politics. Her family comes from politics and was very active and an activist. And love you, mama. But she is just a amazing amazing person. I'm super lucky to have her as a mother-in-law. But in any case, I'm lucky for all of my family, but I feel particularly blessed to have someone who is so knowledgeable and brave and just like absolutely amazing of a person as my mother-in-law. So on to Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris pledged Alpha Kappa Alpha. So she's one of those people who, this might not be true about her, but it's definitely true. It's kind of like a stereotype that Alpha Kappa Alphas are they're the Dior enthusiasts of between the two. She was elected DA of San Francisco in 2003, and then was elected the Attorney General of California in 2017. She is in 2010. She is the very first African American senator from California, woman or otherwise. And she, if you don't know, the California Attorney General runs the largest Attorney General office other than the federal government Attorney General, other than the nationwide one. There's a couple of controversies that she was involved in, and this is really interesting because it's kind of hard to pin her down politically, because she's kind of shuffled between being really, really progressive and being sort of like more traditional law enforcement. When she was AG of San Francisco, she declined to, when she was AG of California, she declined to seek the death penalty in a case where the person had murdered a police officer. So the police unions and even Dianne Feinstein were very, very upset at her, and like even said if they had known she was going to do that, then they would not have supported her. So she didn't do that. But then at the same time, when marijuana was legalized, she didn't necessarily stop prosecuting those cases and didn't go back. And, it took her a while to come around to that. And it took her a while to kind of get on board. However, when she was AG of San Francisco, she had a really small but very progressive program for people who had been arrested for nonviolent drug offenses. You had to plead guilty, so you had a felony on your record, but if you graduated from the program, then they would expunge that felony. So this was actually a program where people got job training, they got help with resumes, they got counseling, they got drug addiction counseling. But they had to go through the program, and they had to, basically show that they were, show up on time, make sure that those things got done. California is one of the most punitive states when it comes to drug enforcement, or at least it was. I'm not sure, I haven't lived there in a really long time, but in any case, it definitely was one of the most progressive programs. And being as how small that it was actually really successful. I'm hoping that that is something she's going to bring to the federal stage, and hopefully we can do that. I am not interested in punishing people for forever for mistakes that they made. If it's a non-violent offense and you didn't hurt anyone, and someone just like bought something from you that you weren't necessarily supposed to have, then, and there was no, like, it's a, willing exchange, whatever. That's on you, but that's on the person who's, seeking out. In my opinion, as an economist, it's supply and demand. Now, also, her presidential run started January 21st of 2019, and it ended December 3rd of 2019. It's so strange to me that her campaign ended because she really couldn't get enough funding to keep going. Like, people weren't donating to her campaign. But the minute that Joe Biden announced her as VP, they made more in contributions than they had, I think, in the entire span of his campaign. So I don't know what that's about. Like, why? It'd be really interesting to know what made those people not donate to her campaign, but donate to the Biden campaign once she was on board. I don't know if it's because it was just, oh my gosh. Okay, Amazon, go away. It's telling me about Cyber Monday stuff. But anyway, I just don't understand what the thought process there is. Do you know what I mean? Like, why one and not the other? Is it because they think she just wasn't ready to helm that campaign herself, or just didn't have the name recognition? That's the one thing that, the only thing I can think of is that people really liked her ideas and really liked her as a politician, as a person. I'm personally much more progressive. I'm much more left leaning than I think Kamala Harris is, or Madam Vice President, I should say. But I just really, I I don't understand why you would support her in one instance but not the other. You know what I mean? So, anyways, she is the first female VP elected November 2020, and she also, her name means lotus in Sanskrit, and her stepkids call her Mamala, which I think is so cute. Her husband, Doug, and her don't have any children together, but she is Mamala to his two children from another marriage, which I think is amazing. My father is not my father by blood. He is my chosen dad, and I think that that's amazing. And I think that, I mean, in my opinion, my dad's my dad. Like, that's the way it is. He's my dad. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. That's it. That's it. That's all there is. Also, she has written 2 nonfiction books and 1 children's book that was called Superheroes Are Everywhere, and I'll put it up on the screen here. All right, lovelies, that is the getting to know the VP. I wanted to make this quick video because I know a lot of people don't know too much about her, don't know really like where she's coming from. Oh, her mom was a scientist. I just remembered reading about that. Oh, and the best line that the thing that is the pièce de résistance was when she was debating Mike Pence and he tried to talk over her, and she was like, "Excuse me, Mr. Vice President, I'm speaking." I'll put it here. Because every woman that has ever been in a meeting knows what it's like to get talked over by some dude and just be like, or to like say an idea and then have someone else repeat it and then everyone get on board with that idea, and you're just like looking around like, what happened? What just happened? And yeah, it's insane. It's insane to me how everybody in the country, I think every woman in the world, like saw that and was just like, yep. So thank you, lovelies, for hanging out with me today, for just helping. Thanks for hanging out with me today. Thanks for talking about Kamala Harris with me. And no matter what side of the political aisle you're on, I hope this was a fun little tidbit for you. This isn't meant to like anger anyone in any way, but she is the VP elect, and I'm very excited to see what the Biden administration is going to do to progress women's like health and reproductive efforts, and to women's equality, especially for women of color. I cannot tell you how indebted we are as a country to Black women and civic organizations that are created, managed, and championed by Black women. The bill is way overdue, and if you know someone in your life who is, doing these things, civically engaged, getting out the vote, getting all of those things, and getting women's issues on the table, Black women have always led the charge, and we absolutely need to engage more and protect and respect and uplift our Black sisters. Thank you so much for joining me today, and please have an amazing day. Bye.